video, I will be comparing Jacques Copeau and Anne Bogart. Jacques Copeau believes in lots of prep work of directing from the director before rehearsals even start. He believes in the initial reading that the director does of the play, that the inanimate pages come to life in the director's fingers. He adds a sense of life to the meaning of the words. Before going any further, Jacques seeks to delimit the space, form, and dimensions of action. This is the staging plan. He will locate as accurately as possible without harming the flow of the action, the actors' places or positions, as well as their entrances and exits. Then the action must be organized, act by act, scene by scene, speech by speech, but the director must keep in mind the truthfulness of the characters, the expression of their emotions, and the demand of the script. He aims at achieving clear representation, well-defined movement, varied rhythm, and sustained harmony. All these steps are motivated by a unity of style and guided by an overall idea. But the director has to be careful not to force this idea. This personal work on the part of the director is necessary if he is to avoid losses of time, mistakes, and all sorts of disappointments, according to Jacques. Now the director can begin rehearsals with the actors, but instead of calling them to the stage, he first calls them to the table. This way, they read the script all together to impress on the minds the meaning and the rhythm, and also so the actors can read their parts. This enables the director to explain the author's intentions as well as his own, and nip any misunderstandings, as well as to dwell on the beauties of the script and the basic principles of its interpretation. The first rehearsals are devoted to assigning of places. The actor, guided by the director, adjusts himself to the mechanics of the action, familiarizing himself with the movements he is called upon to make, trying to understand the reasons for them, accepting and discussing them. At the same time, it allows the director an opportunity to verify and modify his conceptions and to make necessary revisions in his overall plan before sets are built. Actors and directors have an overall view of the work now. They know where they are going before they plunge into the actual interpretation of the text. The work of the interpretation becomes possible when the characters speak the lines from memory. The director becomes the actor's guide and teacher by means of sympathetic understanding that he will exert his most active influence. A director should react toward an actor as would an audience, but an ideally critical audience. The more he can leave initiative to the actors, the better, and when he can't, let the director become a diplomat rather than a drill sergeant and do anything but give orders. Anne, however, is much different. She searches for imaginative ways to renew the theatrical experience, to make it more relevant for herself and those who are receiving it. She learned how to make theater happen in difficult circumstances and learned how to use architecture as the set design and how to work with many different kinds of actors, each with a distinct need. As a young director, very different from Jacques, she began every new project by inviting the actors and everyone involved with the project to brainstorm and ideas together. This was called lateral thinking. It's freely associating of one another's ideas. They engendered a collective image of the world of the play and imagined together what could happen in that arena. They dreamed up elaborate plans and wonderful imagery. In a collection of essays, she discusses her interests in exploring our original terror, the want to shock complacent spectators by confronting them with the discovery of what Bogart calls mystery and trembling in the theatrical event. She admits her own terror at the beginning of rehearsal processes and emphasizes the importance of the director staying in that risky place so that she may nurture and provoke the creative process of the actors as they interact with the context of the text. The director must create crisis in the rehearsal process so that she can get out of her own way and so that the possibility of creative discovery may happen. She uses visual imagery, and she has an admiration for respect she shows for all members of the ensemble. She also came up with this idea called viewpoints, which represent not only a physical technique but also a philosophical, spiritual, and aesthetic approach. They represent fascinating and provoking ideas translated into concrete exercises. They involve exploratory activity based in movement, improvisation, and test investigation. They're best experienced and not verbalized, and they encourage more risk-taking and bolder choices in acting that are not confined by any particular expectation or strict process. She's interested in creating moments on the stage where everybody in the audience feels something different. She approaches theater as an art form and asks herself, how do I work as an artist in the theater? Art is about opening up rather than closing down and defining. One should not lessen a production to try and match the understanding of the audience. Theater should challenge the audience. What she sees is reaction, based on the viewpoints. I used to think my job was to invent something new. Now I think it's to reinvent stereotype with a question mark in it, she says. She's not interested in telling actors what to do. One's job as an artist is to connect in places where it's least expected, so most of our work involves getting out of our own way. As you can see, Anne Bogart and Jacques Cobo are very different people in their directing styles.